let's get started with the Heartbreak Archetype Masterclass. Thank you for jumping on. I am so aware that a few people are going to watch the recording. So I'm just going to go through this. There's a few points that I definitely want to highlight with this. And I also just want to honor you for jumping on, doing the quiz, finding out your archetype, and jumping on this call. I feel like when you delve into some healing, it can be a bit overwhelming, and that's so fine. And I feel like I have come into this space to really hold that for you and to be there for you. So I'm just going to present this screen. If you definitely can see the slideshow. Oh, perfect. All right, so before we start, why is it not going next? Before we start, I just wanted to highlight that this is just a judgment-free space. Whether you are watching this live or on a replay, just knowing that everything you're feeling and thinking, it's super valid. Anything you share with me, I will always keep confidential. I know that with heartbreak, it can be so scary opening up to people because it actually requires a bit of like self-reflection as well. As you go through this, just pause when you need to pause, write things down if you've got your journal with you. This is honestly just, I want this to be nice and conversational. I want this to be educational for you, but I also want you to see that this doesn't need to be so hard. This doesn't need to be so overwhelming. If something does come up and trigger you, it's just showing you where you need to heal. Instead of pushing it away, I just want you to ask yourself, what is this bringing up for me? Why does this feel uncomfortable? This is just all part of self-awareness, and it's actually a really good skill to learn. And you'll find that not everything will be for you. Some of the archetypes may not speak to you, and that's so fine too. But I did want to include all 7 archetypes in this because it's actually really funny going through the results of everyone. Just how diverse everyone is. There's a lot of overthinkers, but then there's a lot of ice queens, and it was just really interesting. But we'll go through all of that soon. As you can see behind me, I have some nice rules. I like to run through these with my clients because I do just want this to be a safe space. I want you to come as you are, just listen in, just be here. It's so fine. Leave judgment at the door, judgment of others, judgment of yourself, judgment of your ex. I want you to honor your voice and what comes up for you. You're all muted, so you can talk, you can write, talk as you write. Release any shame that comes through. You are a woman. You are fearless. You are sexy. You are divine. You'll hear me post that song on everything. I want you to use this hour to just really take radical responsibility. I want you to go, I am here for a reason, and I am going to learn something from this, and I'm going to action something from this. Feel it all. Just feel it all the uncomfortable, all the shitty feelings that may come up, all the empowerment that may come up, the good feelings, the being proud of yourself for how far you have come. And just show up for you. This is about you. This isn't about your kids. This isn't about your ex. This isn't about your parents. This is about you. So I really want you to be curious with yourself for what comes up as well. I think curiosity can be such a big key to growth and to healing, and just allowing yourself to like ask yourself and catch yourself out when something feels uncomfortable. Just ask yourself why. Be curious as to why. if something does trigger you, I do want you to ask yourself, what is this mirroring to me right now? Why is this surfacing for me? Why does this feel so alive for me right now? And I do want you to know that feelings of shame may come up. That's so normal too. Just catch yourself on that. Give yourself some grace. Don't go down a spiral. You are here in a safe space, and you are safe to heal your heart. And I want you to know that you can do that. So what we'll go through today, I will kind of go through a bit of a teaching mode, and then what we'll do is go into a safe space of visualization, which is just one of the practices that I do with my clients. And you'll really spend 10 minutes with me, just having your eyes closed, your cameras are off, just being with yourself, and I will guide you through that. But we will go through some teachings first. So I'm going to go through all 7 archetypes. We're going to chat about how these archetypes are actually formed from a younger age. And then usually breakups will validate those beliefs that we have in ourselves. We'll also speak about why your body still reacts, even if you feel or you swear black and blue you are over them, why your body may think otherwise, may react otherwise. My personal experience with this is I used to get so much anxiety when my ex would like message me or someone would bring him up in conversation, even when I would say like, oh, nah, he's dead to me, or whatever I was saying, I would find that my body would definitely react. I'd usually go and have a Valium, drink some wine, try and make myself feel better. And what I came to realize is my nervous system was just so out of whack. It was just so out of whack. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to speak about what your healed version of your archetype looks like. I'm really excited to go through that part. And how to shift from your current archetype into your healed archetype. So you stop repeating the same cycles. And then we'll go into the safe space visualization. So my story, why I'm here. I know just looking at who's on here that you've all been following me on social media. So you'll know a bit of my story, but for those who don't, my name's Maddie. I used to be known as Single Mum Mads on Instagram. I actually built a lot of my following from posting about my single mum journey and posting about hustle culture and business, all the hyper independent stuff. And what I found was, even though I was doing a lot of therapy, a lot of self-development theory, I wasn't really getting anywhere. And my friend who's actually on here, my old PT, she became what's called a shadow work coach, which is what I'm now certified in. And she would reach out to me and be like, hey, want to do a session? Want to do a session? And I was like, what the fuck, no. And then I just booked in with a psychologist again. And what I really started to find was she'd become my psychologist. She'd become almost like an overpaid friend that I was venting to, knowing that she had to keep things confidential. But then I hit a phase where I was like, wait, I'm spending all of this money and like, yeah, I get some kind of relief for a little bit, but nothing's really changed. Like I'm still drinking wine to cope. I'm still like working all day and then staying up late at night on my laptop to stay busy. Like there was just so many weird coping mechanisms and I was like, hold on, shouldn't I have grown from this? Anyway, I also kept wondering why every time I heard from my ex, I was so triggered. And I thought that I should be a lot more healed, but I wasn't. And this is where I started to understand nervous system regulation and somatic shadow work when I finally said yes to my friend doing a session with me. And that's when everything changed for me. That is when my whole life changed. I really felt free again. My heart wasn't so heavy. I actually gave my now partner a proper chance after being very toxic and pushing him away. And I then was like, I want to help other women post heartbreak actually heal. Like, I knew that I could teach so much in terms of like theory, but whether or not I could take women through the actual process of healing was the question. And so that's when I did my certification. And the work that I've done since with women has been so beautiful to witness. It's been honestly incredible because so many women, we hold on to that pain that we experienced, especially if children are involved. Our heart breaks for them as well. And committing to this work with my own coach has been what's really healed my heart. So I would like to start chatting about the heartbreak archetypes. As I said before, you didn't choose your archetype. It actually was formed from past experiences, childhood patterns, and what your nervous system learned about love. Your past relationships, they validated it. And sometimes we do shift between archetypes in different stages of our life. And that's when those relationship breakdowns can validate those archetypes in that moment. Understanding this is the first step to changing it. Even if you are in a relationship now, I am almost 100% certain that you are still being triggered by past relationships. Even my relationship from when I was like 17 to 21, there are still things that trigger me around that. But does my body go into panic? My heart race? No. I can look at it, sit with it, and then just move on. And that is just so powerful. So the crazy thing about archetypes as well, the crazy thing about this trauma that we're storing in our body is that it can actually impact us, not just in future relationships, but in different ways of our life too. And something that I experienced with friendships was because my ex had cheated on me multiple times in different phases of our relationship, even when we were good. And that's no secret. I've talked about this before. What I started to notice was in friendships, I was struggling to trust. And that was really, really tough. That was a hard pill to swallow when I started really delving into my healing, was like, okay, well, why am I keeping my friends at arm's length? Why? And now it all makes sense because I was holding on to these things in my body. Obviously, we know that it impacts our new relationships when we start to date. You know, there can be certain things that maybe subconsciously you're not even realizing in the moment, but after today's session, you will start pulling yourself up on. If you are in a relationship, you'll start to see where you're getting triggered and that it can link to this archetype. It can show up in your parenting, having to put on that mask of being strong. We've all been there, let's be real. Especially if co-parenting is involved. I see this all the time, that we put masks on around the other parent or around our children about the other parent. In work and business, we can actually find that we are losing our voice. We're afraid to step up, take risks, go for the promotion, start the business. Why? Because rejection feels like a threat. Yeah, it's heavy. And just in overall decision making. If you're an overthinker, you'll know what I'm talking about. You second guess everything, avoid opportunities, because not only trusting others feels hard, but trusting yourself does too. All right. I want you to take a moment to reflect on the archetype that came through for you on the quiz. When it shot out your answer, what thoughts or feelings came up for you? If you've got your pen and paper in front of you or notes on your phone, jot down. Be honest with yourself. What thoughts or feelings came up? Was it a, oh, that's so accurate. Oh, that's so me. Of course I got that one. Did you feel resistance reading it? That's not like me. I don't do that. But do you? Just sit with that. Now, your archetype is just the starting point to learning more about yourself in a deeper way. Let's analyze these a little bit. First up, we've got the overthinker. Monica. You'll find I have a few friends references in this, a little bit of Sex and the City. We all know what Monica was like, especially at the start of Friends, overthinking, control freak. You tell yourself that you're over it. You don't have time to sit around feeling sad. You've got a life to run, kids to look after, work to do, but your mind won't shut up. The replay button is stuck on every conversation, every mistake, every what if. No matter how much you distract yourself, your thoughts won't let you rest. You act like you're fine. You give great advice to your friends about moving on. You joke about how crazy you used to be over him. But you still check your social media. You're still rerunning all the conversations. Did I push him away? What if I just been more chill? Why can't I stop thinking about this? You're searching for closure in all the wrong places. You think if you could just understand why he left, why it ended, why it happened like this, you'd finally be free. But the truth, closure isn't something he can give you. Who you become as your healed version is the unshakable one. You trust yourself instead of spiraling into self-doubt. You give yourself the closure and you move with certainty, peace, and confidence. You no longer spiral into overthinking. How freeing. You trust yourself and no longer doubt every decision that you make. And you don't need answers from the past because likely you're not going to get them. So you create your own peace. I've popped some notes in around your shadow work focus. And a big thing with this is like sitting in the discomfort instead of spiraling. Rebuilding self-trust so you no longer second guess yourself. And letting go of looping thoughts and clearing the mental noise. And then you become Monica in the later seasons of Friends, where she's pretty self-assured. She's pretty confident. She still has her moments, which is a lot better. If you're a Friends fan, you know what I mean. The resentful one. I love Sex and the City, honestly. And it's so funny. I hated Miranda. I think most people didn't like Miranda. Like when you play that game that's like, shotgun being, shotgun being Samantha. It was never Miranda, let's be real. But that was probably because she also just came across as quite resentful. She was bitter. She was emotionally guarded. She was pretty insecure when she would wait for validation. But if this came up for you on the quiz, maybe you're a lot more like her than we thought. You say you're over it, but one wrong song, one glimpse of his new relationship, and you're spiraling again. You hold on to anger because it's the only thing keeping you from feeling hurt. You act like you don't care, but deep down you do. You roll your eyes, talk about how he was the worst, but if you're honest, resentment still has a grip on you. How does he get to move on like nothing happened? I hear that all the time. He needs to pay for what he did. Why do I have all the responsibilities? Why do I have the kids majority of the time? I'll let go when he finally apologizes, which, let's be real, it really won't happen. Even when they get in a new relationship, I feel like that doesn't happen, even with a woman in his ear. You're waiting for an apology that just will never come. You think if he just acknowledged what he did, you'd finally be free. But the truth is, your peace isn't in his hands. So you become the unbothered one. You heal your heart and you become unbothered. You don't waste energy on your anger anymore. You stop giving him rent in your head. You reclaim your power, your joy, your emotional freedom. I can really speak to this one because I was super resentful when my son's father and I broke up, because I have my son full time and I have since, I left. And there was a lot of that for me. Oh, he gets to go and bender while I'm looking after our child, like just all that. But now I don't even think those things, because what's the point? I'm never going to get the resolution. And if you feel like these thoughts come into your head around that too, maybe journal about that. Maybe just like sit with that for a bit, because, you end up being too busy building a beautiful life to care what he's doing. And I am a big testament to that. And I know a lot of other women, a lot of other single moms are like that too. And it's so beautiful to see. Something I had to do was release that anger. It was festering inside of me and it was really, really hindering my growth. It doesn't mean you lose power. It actually enables you to create better boundaries by not having that anger. And you got to move it through your body. So we'll get to that soon. The hopeless romantic, or Charlotte. She falls fast, ignores the red flags, believes love will work out if she just tries hard enough. I had a lot of DMs from women getting this one. And I was like, I see it. I get it. You see the best in people even when they don't deserve it. You believe in love deeply, and because of that, you found yourself waiting, hoping, and pouring your whole heart into someone who can't or won't meet you there. Commitment, oops. You tell yourself this time will be different, but deep down, a part of you knows this pattern all too well. You act unbothered, pretending you're okay with casual or waiting for him to figure himself out. Friends with benefits. You tell yourself you're just going with the flow, but the truth, you crave deep, secure love. You just don't know if you will ever get it. And this is a big self-worth piece as well. Oops. Big self-worth piece too. Do you deserve deep, secure love? Will I ever get deep, secure love? No. So then I will lower my standards. I'll allow the casual sex. I'll allow this seeing each other, but never committing. If I just love him enough, he'll realize I'm the one. If you are the hopeless romantic, you know that you've thought these things or said these things to your friends. Why does it feel like I always have to prove myself in love? I feel that. You keep mistaking longing for love. You fall in love with potential, not the reality. You think that if you wait long enough, fix enough, prove yourself enough, this time it will work. But the love you're searching for isn't him. It's in you. And you become the secure one. You heal this part of you. Doesn't mean that you stop believing in love. Doesn't mean that you don't get excited at all the little things at the start of a relationship, the start of dating. It just means that you are so much more secure in who you are, that you no longer confuse intensity with love. The good old toxic love. For those who have had like a rebound after a big relationship, I feel like this is always like the pattern. We go from like a bad relationship to like some toxic kind of like situationship almost. You no longer chase or prove your worth. You trust that the right love will feel safe, steady, reciprocal, without the anxiety, the waiting games, checking your phone, the will he, won't he energy. Your reality now, you choose partners based on how they show up, not their potential. And that's powerful. You no longer accept breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole damn cake. You feel secure in love, knowing you don't have to earn it. There's a few parts here with the shadow work focus around healing that wound, learning to sit with self-worth outside of a relationship. We'll get to that. The hyper-independent one, Samantha. Why did we all want to be Samantha? So weird. So weird. Emotionally detached, convinced she doesn't need love or anyone, keeps things casual, avoids deep emotional connections. You don't rely on anyone. You don't ask for help. You've convinced yourself that you have to handle everything alone. Because in the past, when you did let people in, they either left, betrayed you, or made you regret it. You're thriving on the outside, career focused, great mom, independent, getting shit done. But when you're alone, the weight of everything hits you. You secretly wish someone would be there for you. But at the same time, the thought of relying on someone again makes your skin crawl. I know a few single mums like this because obviously I chat to a lot. Very, very big. I was one of them, as you know, if you've been looking at my content. You act like you don't need anyone and pride yourself on handling everything alone. You're the one who never asks for help, who people admire for being so strong. Oh, you're so strong. You make single motherhood look good. Deep down, you're exhausted. Letting someone in feels super unsafe. Super unsafe. So you push people away before they get too close. Here's a fun fact. My current partner chased me for years. For years. Would show up, check in on us, and I would like take it a little bit and like push him away because I was stuck as the hyper independent one. This was my archetype. Big one. A big thing for me was that disappointment piece. Relying on people only leads to disappointment. If I let my guard down, I'll regret it. I'll just get disappointed again. Massive. Being in survival mode for so long, vulnerability feels like a threat, feels unsafe. I don't want that. I don't want to feel unsafe. I don't have time to feel unsafe. You mistake needing others for weakness. The idea of letting someone support you, even emotionally, feels unsafe. Now what am I? I am the soft and strong one. I'm still independent, absolutely. You cannot take that away from me. You won't be able to take it away from you. But knowing true strength isn't about doing everything alone. It's so nice to have a teammate. It's just like, this is where I was operating, and now it's like up here because there's like two of us, two. It's different. It's nice. It was hard at the start, but it's nice now because when you allow love and support into your life, it's true. It starts to feel safe. It's not a weakness. It's beautiful. It's actually helped me in like my relationships with my family, friends. I'm so much softer. I'm not in this like crazy hustle, move, be defensive. I'm just soft and strong. Still strong in my boundaries, but just not out of a rude or, you know, a wall up kind of way. If you're hyper independent, you know what I mean. I know that I'm speaking directly to you right now. You need to release a belief that if I rely on someone, I'll get hurt. That feels unsafe, just hearing that. I know. Learn to ask for help in small ways. Start building trust in yourself, in your choices, in your decisions, and in others. The self-blamer blames herself for past relationships failing, questions if she should have done more, and struggles with self-worth after heartbreak. I loved Rachel. It's so weird, like when you're older and you're watching Friends and you're like, oh my God, I did not pick up on all this like trauma and, toxicity between her and Ross. And like, it's so wild. All right, the self-blamer. You carry the weight of this breakup like it was all your fault. You replay every mistake, every moment where you should have done something differently. You tell yourself if you had been prettier, smarter, less emotional, more easygoing, maybe he would have stayed. This comes up for a lot who were cheated on. Infidelity is like massively common, massively. Your mind doesn't just grieve the relationship. It's building a case against you, trying to prove that you were the reason it failed. You act like you're taking accountability, but deep down, this isn't about growth. It's about punishment. You are punishing yourself and you're holding yourself to impossible standards and letting him off the hook completely. If I had just tried harder, maybe he wouldn't have left. Why do I keep messing up relationships? Less needy, less emotional. Maybe I deserved what happened. You believe that if something went wrong, you must have caused it. Your self-worth is tied to how well you can make others happy. And when someone leaves, it feels like proof that you weren't enough. Let's forgive yourself. You no longer need to tear yourself apart for things you didn't know at the time. You understand that relationships aren't a test you have to pass, and your worth isn't defined by whether or not someone chooses you. You find that in yourself. You stop over-explaining or trying to justify why you deserve love. You see relationships as a two-way street, not something you alone have to fix. Fixer. You forgive yourself for the past and move forward without guilt. Time to heal the need to constantly prove your worth in relationships. It's time to practice self-forgiveness and radical self-compassion. The Ice Queen, detached, avoids deep connection, keeps things surface level, and runs from vulnerability because she sees it as unsafe. You've completely shut down. You tell yourself you don't care about relationships, that you're better off alone, and that feelings are just an inconvenience. Deep down, though, you miss real connection. You just don't trust it anymore. I loved Blair and Serena, but Blair was great. Gossip Girl, for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I feel like most people have. You act cold, detached, and unreachable. You pretend love doesn't interest you, but underneath it's just fear. Fear of being hurt, fear of being abandoned, fear of being vulnerable and regretting it. You equate love with pain. You've been hurt so deeply that your body has learned to protect you by shutting off all emotion. Hey, Ice Queen. It's not that you can't feel. You've just trained yourself not to. The open-hearted one. Look how much softer she looks on her wedding day. To Chuck Bass. You no longer hide behind indifference. You allow yourself to feel deeply without fear because you know that protecting yourself doesn't mean shutting down. It just means setting boundaries. It's good. You feel safe being vulnerable with the right people. You no longer push people away just to avoid pain. You experience love without feeling like you're losing yourself. It's about releasing this belief that love equals pain. Feelings make me feel weak. Learning to trust emotional connection without fear of regret. Healing the wounds that made you believe detachment was the safest option. And last but not least, Carrie. I would be interested to know how many women actually wanted to be Carrie. I feel like she went on this like tumultuous journey through the whole series and then into the movies. And then the last movie was just like heavy. But she kept going back to big. She'd convince herself she's in control, ignore the warning signs, keep going back, thinking this time would be different. The one who swore she'd never end up here. This is you. I'm sure you've told yourself this would never be you. You'd never be the single mom. You'd never be the one not dating again. You'd never be the one not buying a home with a partner or having a wedding day. You swore you'd never tolerate the kind of relationship that your mother did, maybe. You swore you'd never ignore red flags, never stayed too long, never let someone break your heart more than once. But here you are, heartbroken, ashamed, and wondering how the hell you got this far. You tell yourself you're too smart to have ended up here. So you downplay what happened. You act like it's no big deal. You're totally fine. But you are inside. You're so ashamed. You should have known better. I can relate to this. I feel like I'm quite intelligent, and yet I ended up in such a wild relationship with the biggest red flag. There were a few things to that, me thinking I could save him. But in saying that, I wanted to prove to everyone, family, friends, everyone who was worried about me, that it would work out, that it would pay off. So you can imagine when it didn't, how much judgment and shame I felt. And if you can relate to that, it's okay. Because you can become the cycle breaker. You no longer have to carry the weight of your past. You understand that awareness doesn't come before experience, it comes because of it. And you don't just break cycles, you rewrite the entire damn story. You forgive yourself for what you didn't know at the time. You reclaim your power and you never shrink yourself again. You learn. You move forward knowing that you're not the same person who once settled. Release that belief. I should have known better. Learning to honor your past without carrying shame. Rewriting your self-trust story. Self-trust, that's a big thing. Big thing. So now that you know your archetype, what's next? Awareness is the first step, but it's not enough. It's not. You can't think your way into healing. You may know all the things, all the self-development, read all the books, done all the podcasting, but you actually have to retrain your nervous system. The real work now is shifting from who you are right now into your healed version. This is what we're going to do inside I Am Woman. I'll get to that soon. But what I want to do now is just head into a visualization. Now, what a visualization is similar to a meditation. So what I want you to do is just get really comfortable. Have a sip of water before we start. I might as well. It'll go for about 10 minutes. You may feel uncomfortable. You may get stuck in your mind. That's okay. What we're going to do is just focus on some breath. I'll walk you through it. I'm here with you the whole way. Whatever comes up for you just needs to come up. There's no right or wrong. Just trust yourself that whatever is coming through, whether it's an emotion, a thought, a feeling, just let it be. And if nothing comes up, that's so fine too. Sometimes our nervous system will want to resist this because it knows that to heal, we need to feel a little bit unsafe, a little bit uncomfortable. Just reassure yourself that you are safe here. You don't need to force anything. Let this all happen naturally for you. Even if your mind does wander, You're still receiving benefits, but just try and breathe into it. I will prompt you to breathe and just bring yourself back to this moment. It's only 10 minutes. Doesn't go for a long time. Your subconscious will speak to you in different ways. Some people see clear images, some feel emotions, some hear words, and some just get a sense of knowing. All are valid. See what comes up for you. If you do feel uncomfortable, what I want you to do is just take deep breaths and out. It gets to be as simple as that. Breath is really powerful for grounding you. Sometimes if you feel uncomfortable, it can just be the trauma, just wanting to come out, move through. It doesn't need to be so deep. Just let it happen. There's no perfect experience. You may feel like tomorrow more comes through for you from today. That's great. You may not as well. That's also fine too. This is still part of your journey. You're in control. Feel free after this. I will send the recording out. Feel free to come back to this at any point. It's a beautiful practice. What I'm going to do now is just pop some music on. I want you to get comfortable. Be okay with being present. Just let me know in the chat box if you can hear this music. It's just a soft music. What's going to happen in this visualization is we're actually going to meet our healed self. So whichever archetype spoke most to you, whichever healed version you want to be, we're going to meet her today. This is how we start reprogramming our nervous system. This is how we really start diving deep into healing. This version of you already exists. She's in here. She wants to come out. So let's allow that. All right, I just want you to start by making yourself really comfortable. Melt into your chair if you want to melt into your chair. If you want to sit on the floor, sit on the floor. Whatever feels good for you. And just closing down your eyes. Taking a deep breath in and out. Another time. Last one. Just bringing your awareness to your breath. You don't need to change or shift it. Just notice the way it moves in and out of your nose. The gentle rise and fall of your chest and belly. Now, just noticing any tension in your body without needing to change it. Just noticing. And as you inhale, imagine your breath wrapping around that tension like a soft, warm blanket. And as you exhale, feel your body softening, releasing, letting go. With every breath, you feel lighter, softer, more at ease. Now, I want you to imagine a safe space, a place where you feel deeply at ease, grounded, and protected. Perhaps it's the beach, where you hear the waves crashing gently against the shore, the sun kissing your shoulders with warmth, and the soft sand molding beneath your feet as the cool water washes over them. Maybe it's a quiet forest where sunlight filters through the trees, the scent of earth and leaves fill the air, and a gentle breeze brushes against your skin. Or perhaps it's a cozy room filled with soft blankets, dim candlelight, and a sense of peace that wraps around you like a warm embrace. This space can be real. You may have been there sometime in your life, or imagined a place from your past, a dream location, or something entirely new. The colors, the textures, the sounds. As you settle into this space, feeling completely safe and at ease, you feel a gentle tap on your shoulder. You turn around, and standing before you is her, your healed self. She is already here in this space that holds you both. She stands before you, radiant, whole, and deeply at peace. She is the version of you who has already healed, grown, and stepped fully into her power. Take a moment to notice her. What does she look like? How does she carry herself? What's the expression on her face as she sees you? Give her a hug. She is the you who has fully stepped into her power. As you stand with her, I want you to ask her some questions, keeping in mind the healed versions of your archetype, each representing a different aspect of transformation. Start with, now that you trust yourself fully and no longer seek validation outside of you, how does it feel to be you? What does life feel like now that you've fully healed from heartbreak? Now that you trust love without fear, no longer needing to prove your worth, what does that feel like? What do your relationships look like now? Your friendships, with your kids? Are you in love again? What does it feel like to finally trust yourself again? What did you have to forgive yourself for? What boundaries have you confidently created? Does your heart feel healed? Whatever's coming through right now, just sit with that, sit with her, be in this moment. I want you to imagine stepping closer to her. Reach out. Take your hands in hers. Feel her warmth her confidence, her certainty. She looks into your eyes and she says something to you. Words that you need to hear right now. Listen to her voice. What does she say? Take a deep breath. Letting her words sink into every cell of your body. Feel her strength, because it is now your strength. Feel her confidence, because it is your confidence. Feel her love, because it is already within you. Now, imagine merging with her, stepping fully into her energy, becoming one with her. Feel what it's like to be her. To move through life as her. To embody her every single day. Breathe it in. Now, this version of you is already within you. She doesn't have to be a future version. She can be you now. Just remember, you can return to this space with her at any time. Spend a moment with her. Breathe into it. And when you are ready, starting to bring your awareness back into this present moment. Noticing the feeling of your breath. The weight of your body. The space around you. Start with wiggling your fingers and your toes. And whenever you're ready, just opening up your eyes. Taking a sip of water. Have a big breath. And out. I'm just going to pop some journal prompts onto the screen. In your own time, I do want you to spend a moment with yourself. What was that like for you? What did you notice? Were there any emotions that came up? What did your healed self say to you? What parts of her do you already recognize in yourself? Yay. What did meeting your healed self feel like? And what would you have to let go of to become her? I'll leave these on the screen at the end as well, just so that we can finish. You can screenshot it, take a photo of it, whatever. But I do want you to just spend a few moments. It doesn't need to be a big essay. Just spend a few moments answering those questions. This leads me into I Am Woman, my program that is starting on Monday. It will be a 6-week program with group and one-to-one support through Telegram, which is a messaging app for those who don't know. But it's for women who are ready to get the fuck over him and glow the fuck up. It is for the woman who is really, really ready to heal her heart, to become that healed version of your archetype. What we will run through the 6 weeks will be really around those subconscious beliefs, how to regulate your nervous system and what comes up for you around that. We'll talk about feminine energy, self-worth, magnetism. I will guide you in the best ways that I've learned to create boundaries, self-respect, rebuilding that trust with others and yourself, breaking these cycles and reclaiming your power as a woman, which we just so all desperately want. We do, even if we're not willing to admit it, we do want that power. And how to integrate it all into your life and just really embody this new version of you. By the end of I Am Woman, you will no longer let your ex control your emotions or your self-worth. You will trust yourself again in love, in decisions, in life. You'll break free from overthinking and second-guessing yourself. You will feel safe in your own body. No more spiraling, no more anxiety attacks. It's just going to be so beautiful to see this. You'll be able to set boundaries that protect your peace without guilt. Rebuild unshakable confidence that radiates in every area of your life. And you'll stop craving any closure from him because you'll find it in yourself. My favorite part is you will never settle again. You will never settle for a man that can't give you what you deserve ever again. And this is why I created this program. I Am Woman is going to be so powerful, and I'm so excited to take you through it. There'll be 6 live coaching calls, and then there'll be some pre-recorded drops as well, so you can watch in your own time. There'll be a private Telegram group. A big thing I think with healing is like knowing that you're not the only one, and that's the beauty of like group work. I know it can be a bit worrying to do something with a group of women you don't know, but trust me, I'll make sure it's such a safe space. We're going to do a lot of somatic healing work and resetting your nervous system. Because as I said before, you can know all the things, but if you're not moving it through your body and you're not resetting your body, you're not actually getting to the healing that you want. I'll be prompting you with journal prompts. We'll be going through integration tools. It'll be like the best toolkit for you with your healing. Something that has really worked for me with my healing is emotional releases through music as well. So I'll be taking you through that. And of course, you'll have lifetime access. So the next steps for you, what I really, really want is for you to know that we're going to go deep into healing your archetype in I Am Woman. We're going to shift these patterns at a subconscious level and a nervous system level rather than just in your head. It's going to be through your whole body. So what I want you to start with is to just journal, and I'll put those prompts back up in a moment, but I want you to journal on what came through for you in this. I know we went from teaching into that nice practice, So even journal on that, just like how it went from, being quite information heavy into a beautiful moment for you. I want you to reflect on where your archetype is still showing up for you today. And of course, I want you to jump into I Am Woman. I just thought for those who hop onto this masterclass, I do want to honor you and your time, your commitment to healing, because you're watching this for a reason. And so if you use the code masterclass, you will get 50% off. An email will go out today with this offer. But I really wanted this to be super affordable for you, so you actually don't say no to your healing, because staying in your heartbreak archetype rather than heading into your healed archetype, if this is the difference, if this is what changes that for you, I want to make it achievable. I want to make it something that you do commit to yourself. And as women, as mothers, we very rarely choose ourselves. But if this is for our child, we'd absolutely sign them up, of course, because we want them to heal. So I'll leave that one with you. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for spending this hour on yourself. It's so beautiful to see how many women are craving that healing and saying yes to healing. My DMs are constantly filled with sadness, but then hope. And I love that. And I love being able to hold that space. And I really do hope to see you in I Am Woman. The recording will be sent out for this as well. So if you do want to head back into that safe space with your healed archetype, you're so welcome to do that. Just skip ahead to that part. I do have a meditation recording for 21 days available as well. You can find that on my link in my Instagram bio, or just send me a message and I'll send it through. Spending that time with yourself is just so beautiful, just to slow down. But thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. I really do appreciate it. And I'll chat to you soon.